Hello everybody and welcome back to Nerdy Miniatures, and in today's video I am going to be showing you how I painted my Nighthaunt Chainrasp as our second commission on the channel for Signed with Blood here on YouTube. So if you want to see how I did this really cute ghostly guy, then just keep on watching. So first things first, I painted the entire Chainrasp in Vallejo model colour white because I wanted to make sure the pigments I applied really stood out. Next, for the top half of the capes, I went in with Screamer Pink. For the lower half, I used Genestealer Purple, blending the two together. I then mixed these two colours together and ran it over the seams to try and blend them together more seamlessly. To help with this blend, I then went in with Magos Purple, covering the entire thing from top to bottom. This did make the pink darker, but it actually ended up having the perfect effect. For the bones, Simon wanted them to be brown, so I went in with some dried bark, filling in the face, the arms and the hands. Moving then on to the ball and chain, I went in first with Johannon's Gold. Now this was actually a really nice colour combination that I'll definitely be using again in the future. I also applied this to the axe head. Before going in with Warpstone Glow over the handle of the axe. We did end up later changing this to a darker green, as Signed noted on live that it kind of looked a little bit like a glow stick, so we decided to change that up a little bit. Going back into our contrast paints, I then went in with Volupus Pink, applying this from the top down to make sure that pink had a little bit more vibrancy, as it had been muted slightly by the coating of Magos Purple. It was at this point that we decided that the axe handle was too bright, so at this point I went in with Wild Flesh to cover this up and mute it down just a little bit. Then it was time to move on to shading. For any of the gold elements, I went in with Agrax Earthshade, before applying Nuln Oil over the rest. Then it was time to dry brush. For the arms, hands and face, I went in with a tiny dry brush and I applied Sylvaneth Bark, just to add a little bit of light and dimension to the face and to the arms that were otherwise pretty flat. Part of Signed's design was that she wanted hand-painted cherry blossom flowers all over this, so for this, I went in first with Emperor's Children and applied a slightly bigger flower before going in the centre with Pink Horror. I switched between colours, sometimes using Fulgrim Pink and other times using the previous two mentioned colours, just to create a little bit of variety, and near the bottom of the cape I went in and applied loose flower petals. For highlights, I picked out all of the ridges in the cape and I went in with Pink Horror, especially on the hood and over the folds over the arms. Next, going over the purple sections, I went in with Genestealer Purple to add highlights, before mixing the original two colours, Screamer Pink and Genestealer, to highlight the lower middle sections where they are blended. Next, I went in with Vallejo model colour in white, and it's the same thing I'd done for the previous flowers, adding some white with some pink centres and adding some white petals to the bottom. After this, it was time to add highlights. For the chains and for the axe, I went in with Liberator Gold, highlighting just the rounded edges just to add a little bit of dimension over the Agrax Earthshade that I applied earlier. Then, going back in on that axe, I went in with a thin line of Warpstone Glow just to add a little bit of dimension and shift. For the hands and face and teeth, I then went in with Pallid Witch Flesh to add the highlights. At this point I had a little bit of Scenario Coarse Grain Pollen, and Sign wanted me to add it throughout. I've used this before on my Cherry Blossom Sylvaneth, you'll find that on the channel, but I felt it was appropriate to add it to this as well. Off camera I then did the base. For this, Sam wanted a dark base. For this, I went in with Nagaroth Night, and then I covered the top in various layers of glitter, which Sam selected on live. She also selected a light purplish pink bow that I then stylishly attached to the axe. Not very functional, but very, very cute. Before applying a few more pieces of loose cherry blossom onto the base and rimming the edge with Screamer Pink. And that is it. This is the final look, the final product if you will. I had a lot of fun creating this. In fact, so much fun we're going to be doing it again, as Signed is getting not one, but 2 chain rasps. But the next one's going to be looking a little bit different. So if you want to tune in to see that one live, then subscribe to the channel so you don't miss when we go live to see that. Anyway, that'll be it from me. Down in the description you'll find a link to our Discord channel. We have a small community, slowly growing, and we'd absolutely love it if you join us over there. Hope you have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are in the world. And as always, peace out, guys.